Yeah, because when people do that, because I know some people, like some moms, be abusing their sons because they look like their dad or whatever. So it's just like some form of regret or hatred towards like why they do their kids like that sometimes.
If you want to know the truth about it, like a lot of these mothers who be hating their sons because their biological father is not in their life, most of the truth is a lot of these mothers out here be taking full custodies of their sons, and the biological father never had no say so with the damn court. So the biological father never gets to see their son, and they think the biological father is the bad one when it was the mother the whole time. It happens so much, especially when it comes to Africans and Caribbeans in USA. You notice this stuff never be a problem with Asians, Middle Easterns, or so-called Samoans, Alaskans, Hawaiians. This is only a problem with African and Caribbean mothers in USA. This is sad. One thing I have noticed, like when it comes to Generation X has been like the worst generation far as like parents when we think about the country of USA and UK and Canada, because here is why. A lot of African and Caribbean mothers of Afro hair features, they get with these guys, and the first child always tends to be the one the first child always tend to be the one that don't really get to have their biological father in their life, because the mother might have lied on his biological father about what the biological father did or something like that. Most of the time, the biological father didn't choose to walk out the biological son's life. It's usually due to that mother's choice. I don't know what it is with these African and Caribbean mothers in USA that be just shitting on their son's biological father. This is the reason why a lot of people that look African, look Caribbean in USA, if they never had the experience to, hang with their biological father, right? Because of their mother, that would have to be narcissistic, right? Because I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of African, Caribbean males out there who never met their biological father, right? And if they were foolish enough to believe the lies that their mother had told about their biological father being a deadbeat, when there's no video proof of it, of him being a deadbeat, it's like that male is gonna have to like see for himself, and it's like, what's the point of going through all that trouble, right? Now, when you think about Middle Easterns and these Asians, they never have these problems with their mothers at all. Like for real, like I could tell you this for example, right? Like me, I can only imagine what it would be like if just to have like an Asian household or a Middle Eastern household where like the males, the biological fathers and the biological mothers, they're all existing together every single day, right? And you actually get to see this, right? That's why some Asians and Middle Eastern people, they're so lucky they get to have their biological fathers and mothers every single day at a table or somewhere, right? Now, the only Africans and Caribbeans that get to see their biological father and biological mother every day is the ones who grew up in the African and the Caribbean countries. Not in USA, not in UK, not in Canada. Because like when I see videos of like, these Generation X mothers who happen to be Africans and Caribbeans who grew up in USA, that are part of Generation X. They have these Generation Z children, Generation Z sons that are like birthing like 1995, 1996, 1997, 1998. And it's like whoever the first child was, these biological mothers, they take their anger out on their first son based on the biological father, which is not fair, because how can the son be just like their biological father? It's impossible. It's only one person.
Yeah, to reply to your previous voice notes, yeah, that like, yeah, because every little different culture got their own like they hold stuff is based on like tradition and stuff like that. So of course, if you would one, you gotta ride with that one all the way until the wheels fall off. It's really like that. Now with America, it's more like it's more common like not to see fathers in the household, or kind of hard really seeing mothers like in the household with the single father taking care of them. You really don't see too many of them like that either. Yeah, because like a lot of them don't get like choices as far as like who get custody of the kids or whatever. Not as many people. So yeah, like I know what you mean as far as them regards and stuff too. Cause yeah, that's what it's like for this like current generation. Like they find it like either just so common, or everybody kind of like laxed on it, not really like paying too much attention to it. But yeah, a lot of male role models and all that is not really in the families as much.
And the reason is, when it comes to the countries like USA, UK, and Canada, like a lot of these narcissistic mothers that do exist, right? They're teamed up with the US and UK and Canada government to make sure that a lot of spiritual men is not in the household for their sons or daughters, right? And most particularly the sons, right? And it's very sad to see, because when you look at the USA, UK, and Canada, a lot of narcissistic mothers, like they always find ways and they try to find any type of problem to look at their son and say like, you just like your father, and always dissing their son and causing their son to like hate themselves just because the son realizes that his mother don't like his father. Is very crazy and toxic. So when you think about these highly intelligent fathers, right? These highly intelligent, spiritually awake fathers, in the countries of USA, UK, and Canada, especially particularly for melanated African and melanated Caribbean fathers, the evil government doesn't want these spiritual melanated African Caribbean fathers in the household in those Western countries like USA, UK, and Canada, because then, family architecture, agriculture is going to be like more stable, man. And I've noticed that heavy. Like it just like really hit my soul when I thought about this stuff, about how narcissistic mothers treat their sons just because they didn't like their son's father.
Yeah, it be like that for a lot of them. I mean, even though it's like their own personal relationship, whatever they had going or whatever was going on at the time, it's either like they feel anger or regret behind like how the person like did them and all that. And then it's like I gotta take care of somebody that look like you and all that other stuff. Then yeah, you do got petty like people out here like that don't want they you know fathers to see their kids and stuff too. They be thinking like that, like and then obviously the law be on the woman's side most of the time more than the man's side. So it's like that whole thing, and then yeah, that's what causes like a dysfunctional type of family setting for everybody, or for a lot of people, really. And yeah, and that's crazy. I was looking at a video called like Game Theory, and he was saying in one of his little stuff about that, where like there's not that many positive male role models and stuff around anymore. Yeah, the whole thing with the blue collar, white collar thing is like, yeah, you got families that are connected and like as a unit and stuff with the blue collar type of thing. But the white collar is like you see a generational disconnect. So like a lot of people, you know, either had kids at a certain time where they can't understand the current age of stuff, or vice versa, like that whole thing. Then and then family members don't be talking to each other as much anymore now and stuff. So yeah, I get what you mean. Like as far as that, like I know what that is.
One thing I have noticed, a lot of the native Indian mothers, they don't have bad connections with their sons in USA the way that these African and Caribbean mothers have bad connections with their sons in USA, right? Because native Indian mothers, it's like they have better common sense to have a partner where it's like is going to be a healthy connection when they have this child, and it's not going to be no disrespect of this Native Indian mother telling their first son that, oh, you just like your father, because we hear African and Caribbean nationality mothers in USA say this all the time. Oh, you're just like your father. If a lot of things were blue collared, if a lot of things was blue collar in USA, UK, and Canada, a lot of these African Caribbean mothers would be better. Like myself, like I was told about my biological father, who is a Caribbean. He's half Caribbean, half African nationality, right? My biological mother told me about my biological father like around 2020, right? And like she waited a long time just to tell me about him and stuff. Like when she caused an argument with me, right? When she didn't agree with me on something. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, when my mother was losing a so-called argument that she caused in her own head, she's saying that I'm just like my biological father, right? And I'm like, why does he have anything to do with what's going on right now? So, it made me think about these biological mothers and spiritual sons disconnects in the country of USA, UK, and Canada.